Safezone episode number 7. Thanks for clicking the video. Hope y'all doing well. Now let's get straight into it.
Flashback.
Lynn and Jane made keychains for each other. They basically look the same, except the one Lynn made for Jane has flowers attached to it, and the other Jane made for Lynn has butterflies attached to it.
End of flashback.
Jane is waiting in the car for Lynn, wondering what's taking her so long. She still was sitting and waiting, and she goes into the bar just as Lynn is headed out. Jane asks what Kate had to say. Kate tells Lynn to get home safe. While all this is going down, Tim is in the back absorbing it all in. Once Lynn and Jane leave, he approaches Kate. Now, they were probably too focused on leaving, but Lynn nor Jane could tell Tim was in the building. He's been buzzing around for like the last 2 or 3 episodes. I would have spotted him immediately. Anyway, Lynn and Jane are conversing. Lynn says Kate apologized and wanted to get back together. Jane was almost tricked into believing Kate was a good person. Jane wanted to know Lynn's response. Lynn forgave Kate, but can't be nothing more than a friend to her. I'm like, I barely wanted to do that, because what we need to be friends for? I could be cordial with you, but I don't need friendship. Anyway, Lynn is at home. She tells her mom Kate apologized and she doesn't want to fight over someone else with her mom. She wanted to make her proud and see her happy. Then apologizes to her mom for anything she may have said that hurt her. I'm like, I don't know what Lynn is sorry for. Maybe the tone she used with her mom. But other than that, she really ain't do nothing wrong. But I could be mistaken. Back to the show. Own talking about, I'm sorry for making you feel your happiness wasn't my priority. Lynn was never mad with Own and will choose what's best for herself. So Own ain't gotta worry.
The next day.
Tim talking with Lynn and Jane told him about the things that's been happening with Pi. He suggests Lynn and Jane leave town and take a vacation because it's not safe. Tim mentions his resort. Like, to be honest, Jane been wanting to go on a trip with Lynn for a while. They still ain't go to the beach. Hopefully they end up at the beach this episode. Anywho, Jane is hesitant because who's running the restaurant in her absence? Tim will handle it. She like, how? You can't cook. Tim tells her Pete and Van will take over, but the menu will need to remain the same. Jane is obviously bummed. She can't showcase her new menu she had lined up since she'll be out of town. They arrive at the resort. I'm like, this resort got a farm attached to it? Because I see sheep outside, or is they goats? I can't tell. I'm getting off topic anyway. Back to them. Lynn asks about Tim, wanting to know why Tim is still being so nice to Jane. Jane says that's how Tim is. Lynn like, so you really don't feel anything? Her response is I don't. Lynn pulls Jane closer, saying, do you feel anything? She says, I do. A lot. They do all the things and everything is soup. I'm like, y'all don't want to close the curtains? It's just like whenever they be in a restaurant, doing the things. Zero privacy, windows everywhere. I can peer right through. Anyway.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Lynn reveals she no longer wants to be business partners with Pi, but don't want people to find out she got fired, because if so, she'll never get another good job again. Jane like, you don't need an excuse to move back here. People can say whatever. The world is much bigger than social media, and chasing success ain't happiness. Lynn doesn't know how to be happy because she sees herself as a failure. Damn, that's some real stuff right there. I totally understand what Lynn talk about right now. Anyway, Jane says, who said that? You're happy with photography, right? No one can stop you from being happy. Lynn takes some pictures of Jane. While doing so, some haters is lurking in the distance. Kate says, see, there's so in love. Tim sees it. He loved Jane so much and waited for years for her, but she never noticed him. Tim finally realized why when Lynn came back. Kate like, why you keep trying for it then? Tim doesn't want to regret not doing everything he could. I'm like, this is unhealthy. Both Tim and Kate don't know how to let go. That's sad, but it can also be dangerous. Just like Kim from Dangerous Queen. Lynn and Jane are getting ready for dinner at the resort. Lynn picks something out for Jane to wear. Lynn offers to help Jane put on the outfit. Lynn begins to derobe Jane and starts kissing her, then questions if they should just skip the dinner. Jane kisses her back. Lynn wants to pump the brakes, because if they don't, they really won't go to that dinner. Jane sulks a little. Not gonna hold you. If it was me, like I made a reservation for dinner, I would have stopped. But if it's just a dinner that's served at the resort at a certain time, I'm gonna keep going because I could just go out and eat. Anyway, back to them. Even though Lynn suggests they quit playing around, Lynn continues to kiss on Jane. Jane like, can we forget dinner? Lynn says nah, they can't. They eventually go to the dinner. Lynn gives Jane daisies. They represent pure love, kind of like the love Jane has always had for Lynn. Lynn confesses every time she's been with someone, she really felt scared and afraid it would end horribly again. However, this time she wasn't scared at all. Lynn thanks Jane for always being there for her and is sorry Jane had to wait for Lynn all those years. Lynn picks up a ring and I'm like, hold on. Lynn, I know you had a good job, but you brought another ring? Ain't no way. Is this like your mom's ring? Because you still didn't get the ring from Kate, right? Because we seen it last episode on her finger. How can you afford all this, Lynn? I'm too invested again. Back to them. Jane says, are you sure? Lynn tearfully tells Jane she's never been so sure before. And when she came back to Thailand, she never thought she would be able to love again. But her heart healed and Jane showed her love isn't so scary. Then asked Jane, "Will you be with me forever?" Jane says yes. Jane had to make a ring out of the flowers because she didn't have anything else. Jane like, "When you got a girlfriend, that's when I realized I was still in love with you so much I couldn't love anyone else. Let this daisy represent our love." Then accepts the ring, then kisses Jane's forehead. I'm over here like applause. This was a very touching proposal, but I'm also cackling because I remember how Lynn proposed to Kate, and she ain't shed not a tear. But Jane got her out here crying. Guess she wasn't lying when she said she never been so sure before. Lynn and Jane are chilling. Jane looks over and wonders what Lynn is smiling for. Lynn talk about seeing you here next to me is all I need to be happy. Jane tells Lynn she'll be right here to be her happiness every day. She'll be right here, never leaving her at all. All of a sudden, Kate shows up saying Lynn shouldn't be with Jane. I'm like, now, if I was Jane or Lynn, I find it odd that she's at the same resort as us. But it could be a coincidence. Plus, how did they not hear her approaching in the water? Like, Kate is faded and crying to Lynn, talking about she ain't canceled nothing. She still got the wedding invitations in the venue. Kate just needs Lynn to come back. Kate begs for Lynn's forgiveness again, and she knows Lynn is the only one who truly treated her well and loves her. Now, this is pitiful. I get that you're trying to win Lynn back, but what changes have you made to show you've grown and learned from the situation? We just hear you saying sorry. I'm not saying Kate isn't truly sorry, but how can we be sure? Anyway, back to them. Jane holds Lynn's hand. Kate sees that and goes to move forward towards Lynn and falls into the water. Lynn breaks away from Jane and rushes to help Kate out of the water. Lynn takes Kate to the room. Jane is there trying to be supportive, I guess. Lynn gives Kate some water and questions why Kate would drink so much. Kate's reasoning is to not face the fact that Lynn left her. Lynn like, you can't just apologize and expect things to be the same again. Kate nods. I'm sorry. The nod was so genuine. Kate is hilarious right now, but I understand she faded, but she was so funny. I don't know why. Anyway, Lynn continues. You say you're heartbroken. What about me? Was I not heartbroken that day? Kate just gets up and kisses Lynn. Jane is done with all the foolery that seems to plague Lynn's life and leaves. Lynn pushes Kate off of her and tells her to stop, or she's done. Kate's last resort is to keep reiterating she's sorry. I don't know, but I don't think it's possible for someone to remain friends if you was already with them and they still view you in a romantic way. I haven't experienced that. Please tell me if I'm wrong or not. I don't really know. Anywho, back to the show. Jane runs into Tim. She like, why are you here? He says, he'll drive back in the morning. She asks the same question. Apparently the staff told Tim Kate checked in here, so he came to see Jane. I'm like, bruh, I don't know why Jane ain't smelling the BS. Tim pressured you and your fiance to vacation at his resort, and all of a sudden him and Kate show up when he explicitly told you he'll be handling the restaurant while you are away. I know it's his resort. He's free to come and go whenever, but all of this smells like a setup to me. Anyway, Lynn is searching for Jane. Tim says Kate chased Lynn all the way here. What do you think Lynn feels? Jane says Lynn told me she moved on. Tim talk about, are you sure she has? Lynn finds Jane. Jane thanks Tim. Lynn tells Tim she wanna book another room. She'll pay for everything. Apparently he gotta know why. She explains Kate's faded and she gave her the room. He'll book them another room. And I'm over here like, bruh, from an outsider perspective, that is wild. You got your ex-fiance in the room you and your current fiance was supposed to be in. The same room y'all just smashed in. That's crazy. And look at Jane. She can't believe this shit either. This is wild, bro. They in bed. Jane still ain't with it.
The next morning.
Jane pays Kate a visit. She like, why are you here? Kate ain't said nothing. Jane knows Kate got drunk on purpose and tells her Lynn is my girlfriend, not yours. Kate talking about, so what? Lynn loved me. We almost got married. The ring you're wearing, I have one too. How you know Lynn loves you more? Am I bad for wanting them scrap a little after what Kate was saying? I'm not gonna hold you. I feel bad for Jane. Both Kate and Tim keep asking, is she sure about Lynn's feelings toward her? Knowing her feelings have never shifted since childhood. Hopefully Jane don't feed into them because Tim and Kate want them apart. Jane returns to her room and wakes Lynn up with a kiss. Jane asks Lynn, do you love me? How much? And between her and Kate, who does she really love more? Lynn like, definitely you. They hear a knock at the door. Lynn thinks it's breakfast. It's not. Kate's at the door, trying to get Lynn to eat breakfast with her because she don't want to eat alone. Jane watching them talk from the window. When she gets a call and leaves, Lynn comes back to an empty room. She calls Jane. Jane went back home. Jane enters her home without saying a word. Tim greets Took. Took want to know why he came back with Jane, asking where Lynn is. He shares that Lynn is with Kate and the cops wanted to talk to Jane about the restaurant. So that's why. Took like, how is Jane involved? Tim tells Took the guy who threw the rock claims Jane hired him. Took checks on Jane because she's worried about her. Because Tim told her Kate followed Jane to the resort. But he didn't say he was in cahoots with Kate though. Because I know both of them would throw each other under the bus to save their skin if they found out both of them were working together. Jane is trying to be an optimist, saying maybe they missed each other since it's only been a month. But Jane knows Lynn loves her. However, she can't help but feel some way when Kate's around. Because whenever Lynn looks at Kate, it seems as though she still cares. If Kate never slept with a man, they probably would have been married. And that's what I was thinking. Plus, you said it's only been a month, and Lynn had already proposed to you? This is wild. I would be so overwhelmed with all this. Took comfort to Jane, then heads over to Ohms to see if she's still wanting Kate and Lynn to get back together. Ohm tells Took she's okay with whatever Lynn decides. Took says our kids are in love. We've went through so much together. Let's give them space to sort it out. Jane finished talking with the cops. Tim noticed Jane looks worried. She says it's nothing. Tim knows it's more than that. I can take better care of you than Lynn. I'm like, Tim, sir, I know Jane's been on your mind for some years, but she told you in the hospital you'll never get a chance with her because she strictly viewed you as a friend. You're beating a dead horse now. Oh my gosh, that old ass expression. I blame my grandma for that. Ew. Lynn's at Jane's place waiting. Jane returns home. Lynn asks if she was upset about Kate. Jane tells her yes. Lynn want to know why Jane left without her. Jane didn't want to bother Lynn because she was with Kate. Lynn like Kate was drunk. I would have helped anyone in that situation. Jane understands and goes to leave. Lynn grabs her because she doesn't believe Jane really understood her. Because Jane wouldn't have left her like that if she did. You're mad, Lynn says. Jane admits she's mad because Lynn cared so much more about Kate that she completely forgot about Jane. Lynn talked to Kate again this morning. Jane has every right to be upset. While Lynn says, give me the right to explain.
Flashback.
Lynn tells Kate, I helped you because you were drunk and couldn't let you drown. But the wedding is off. You're out of my life. I don't love you no more. Kate's still holding on. Lynn takes her hand away.
End of flashback.
Lynn wanted to get it over with so Kate understands the limits. Now, I don't know how much more clearer you can make it, Lynn. After you caught her in the act, it was clear then. You leaving the US and returning to Thailand seems pretty clear to me. Kate just don't care about your supposed feelings for Jane, so she gonna keep acting like this. Back to the show. Lynn says, I already told you I'm taken. I can't love anyone else. They make out.
The next morning.
They in a bed. Lynn's first to wake up. She grabs her phone and checks it. But again, she looks suspicious as fuck. That's the end of episode 7 of My Safe Zone. Tim and Kate teaming up to break up Lynn and Jane for their own personal gain is wild. Lynn and Jane made it known that they don't want to be with those two. I don't know why the cops think Jane hired the guy that tried to run her over. She only seen him once. They ain't even exchanged contact information. So what motive would she have? Framing pie, I guess. But for what though? I can't believe all these events happened in a month. That's wild. Jane need to take a sabbatical away from all this mess. And Kate gave me secondhand embarrassment this whole entire episode. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, share, subscribe for more content from me. Be safe. Later, y'all.